I think it's well established that I believe the WWE has a major problem when it comes to both who should win the 2015 Royal Rumble and the main event of WrestleMania 31. Frankly, the way I look at it is I don't really think they have a main event for WrestleMania 31. I just really don't. And in particular, I don't really think that they have a spectacular, star-spangled, awesome option to win that Royal Rumble match. And I know I'm not alone in this, and many of you share this concern or these concerns, or at least some of them. To me, when I look at this 2015 Royal Rumble, there is a lack of a clear-cut option, like that one choice that makes sense, that the seas have parted in its time. This is the direction you needed to go. This is the character you needed to go with. There's the lack of that. There's a lack of guys that really feel ready, frankly, to take that next step. Because even if you want to argue for, let's say, a Roman Reigns or a Ryback or a Dean Ambrose or a Dolph Ziggler, all of those options have major and significant fleas to them, if you will. There are positives to it, but there are potentially huge negatives and drawbacks to them. One of them being, is any of the four of them really ready for a main event top spot in the WWE? The next problem is any of them really worthy of going on to main event WrestleMania 31? Then to me, you also have that lack of real credible alternatives in terms of established names that you need to relaunch. Combining that with the fact that the vision for WWE all along has been having Brock Lesnar go all the way to WrestleMania 31 as the champion, and him being the guy that put over the guy that was going to be part of that next generation. And you have problems here, especially because you run into the issue of what do you do post-WrestleMania if you try to Roman Reigns or a Ryback, let's say, or a Dolph Ziggler at a guy like a Brock Lesnar, even a Dean Ambrose, frankly. I mean, where is the story here? Where is the appeal here? And where does this feel like any of those guys are really credible threats, honestly, to Brock Lesnar? We can make arguments for him, and I've made arguments in particular for Ryback, but at the end of the day, if somebody says, well, they're not really ready and they wouldn't be part of a credible WrestleMania main event, especially with Brock Lesnar as the champion, I understand that. And that leads people to believe that there might be some type of audible called, and there very well could be an audible called, and there might have to be the case. But let's just say, for example, that the WWE sticks to their guns, at least when it comes to Brock Lesnar, and that they're going to follow through for once on something, and they're going to say, damn the consequences, this is what we're going to do, this is what we set out to do, and now we're going to go about doing it. And they decide to have Brock Lesnar carry that strap all the way into WrestleMania 31. You agree or disagree with the decision, what have you, but that's what they're going to do. And let's say they do that. Then my question is, why can't Randy Orton be that guy to win the 2015 Royal Rumble? And I'm dead serious. For so many of you that are talking about Daniel Bryan would be the best option and he would be the best choice, he's an option, he's a choice, and maybe the fact that you view him as the top option or the top choice is more of a condemnation of these other fresher, younger talents not getting over to the level that they need to, and especially a condemnation of the WWE and their creative stupidity and just how much of a cancer Vince McMahon is to his own product. But Daniel Bryan himself is not a character at this particular moment that has a tremendous amount of momentum. Just because he didn't get into the Royal Rumble match last year and had to go the backdoor route to the main event, he still got to the main event. He still had his moment last year. Do you really need to build a second straight WrestleMania show around Daniel Bryan getting his WrestleMania moment when the last time you did that, within a month and a half, he was out of active in-ring competition until this point in time here in 2015? Do you really want to go down that route again? Wouldn't that feel like more of the same, especially for so many of you that want something different, want some variety, want some spice? Wouldn't you want something a little bit different? Well, Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship would be just as different as Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I know what a lot of you are going to say is that Randy Orton, for crying out loud, you want to talk about that being different? And I get that, and I understand that. But here is an attempt and a chance here with the popularity of the RKO vines, the RKOs out of nowhere. You have begun that shift, that turn to Randy Orton being a babyface character at a time where you lack young talents that are ready to take that next step, at a time where you lack options in terms of other established guys that you want to reestablish and relaunch and send them going forward. Here's Randy Orton, a guy that you can count on. Here's Randy Orton, a guy that you know what you're going to get. Here's Randy Orton, a guy who doesn't tend to miss a lot of time for injury like somebody like a Daniel Bryan just did. Here's a guy that you know to a certain degree you can build a WrestleMania main event around because you have done it 2 times before. You can talk about the results and you can talk about what happened, but the fact is he is a safe commodity. He is a known commodity. And at a point in time where you're going to be trying to relaunch and reestablish him and give his character some much needed life in 2015, you need new top baby faces or just top baby faces in general and established ones at that, ones that the fans can actually get behind with this RKO out of nowhere Vine shtick that Randy Orton has. You have the possibility to do that. For a lot of you, one of the dream matches you've been talking about that you want is Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar. So if Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar has a lot of appeal to you at WrestleMania 31, why wouldn't Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar carry the same, if not greater appeal? I'm just asking. Furthermore, when we're talking about this from a believability and credibility standpoint, no offense to Daniel Bryan or his fans, but at the end of the day, across the entire spectrum, who's more credible? Who's more legitimate? Who is truly straight up more believable as a kayfabe perspective outside looking in, saying that this guy could give a Brock Lesnar a run for his money? Is it Daniel Bryan or is it Randy Orton? I mean, let's be serious here. And when you look at the possibilities of what you could do with this, you could sit there and send Daniel Bryan at Brock Lesnar. And you could even have him beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. But then you know goddamn good and well that if you have, let's say, a Seth Rollins cashing his money in the bank on him, that people will, on the one hand, be excited and then they'll be incredibly pissed because they'll be like, oh, is Daniel Bryan getting fucked over again? And the whole dynamics of what should work incredibly well, Daniel Bryan chasing Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship post-WrestleMania, will kind of flail and kind of fall apart. Whereas if you do it with Randy Orton and Seth Rollins, where you have Randy Orton face off against Brock Lesnar, and then you choose that moment for Seth Rollins to cash in at WrestleMania and have him become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, then you can sit there and send Randy Orton and Seth Rollins off on a feud, and the dynamics and the storytelling there is every bit, I think, of what it is when it comes to Daniel Bryan and a Seth Rollins. And especially if you end up calling an audible for Brock Lesnar and you go with Rollins as your champion heading into WrestleMania. To me, if I'm going to make that statement and I'm going to go there, I want to make sure that I do everything I can to establish Seth Rollins as a serious to take legitimate top guy. And I'm sorry, I think you could do that better with him feuding with a Randy Orton heading into a WrestleMania with Orton as the Royal Rumble winner than you can with Daniel Bryan, and you'll be damned to convince me of otherwise. And when we're talking about building an entire show, building a WrestleMania main event, for my money, in my opinion, I would rather do it with Randy Orton than I would with Daniel Bryan, and now watch as the flaming keyboard fingers of fire commence. To me, there are just as many good appealing options with Randy Orton winning the Royal Rumble as there is with Daniel Bryan. Furthermore, I don't think you need to do a whole lot to reestablish Daniel Bryan, but I also don't think his character has a whole lot of momentum. In the meantime, while Randy Orton's character maybe had some momentum when he was turning face with the whole RKO out of nowhere Vine thing, but maybe he doesn't have a lot because he's been off TV a little bit, you need to reestablish him, especially if you're going to put him back on the babyface side of the fence. And I think you can accomplish more and have more flexibility and have more options if you have Randy Orton win the Royal Rumble and then go on to WrestleMania, because it provides you the flexibility of having Randy Orton be the champion going out of the show and going forward, or even better, establishing a guy like Seth Rollins as a top guy either by cashing in and then Orton has to chase after him afterwards, and it ties into the whole authority thing, and then Daniel Bryan after that, and you've got a spring and summer's worth of work right there for Seth Rollins as a champion. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose down the road, you've got damn near an entire year worth of programming involving Seth Rollins with or without the championship. But you could also go with Randy Orton losing clean to Seth Rollins when Seth Rollins is already the champion. And I don't know that it would hurt Randy Orton that much, and it would help Seth Rollins tremendously. Whereas if you have a Seth Rollins beat a Daniel Bryan clean at WrestleMania, it might not help him all that much. The fans might get a little pissed off about it, even though Seth Rollins is Tyler Black and he's one of the best motherfucking wrestlers in the world. They would still get pissed off about Daniel Bryan getting to that spot, getting to that moment, and not winning the title. For so many different reasons, I think Randy Orton is as good of an option as any. And for my money at this point in time, based off of where the WWE has to go and what needs to happen, I think Randy Orton might be the best option to win the 2015 Royal Rumble. And I truly mean that. And besides, if that happens, that makes us one step closer. That inches us nearer to Randy Orton versus John Cena at the main event of WrestleMania 31. All the matches, all the times they feuded with each other. And the one thing they've never done is one-on-one main event at a WrestleMania. Damn it, good and well, you people know that that's what you need. That's what you desire. That's what you long for in your short pant loincloth regions. You need this. You want this. You have to have it. Randy Orton versus John Cena for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 31.